Yesterday, we just recently finished our conversation on proportion, and we're going to be doing a wire sculpture. And so in order to keep the proportion of the human figure correct, I'm going to be giving you a template. And the template is going to mark for you how big the head should be, the location of the waist and hips, knees, calves, toes. So we're going to begin with a piece of wire that looks like this. It is in a coil because I want you to use it as you need it. Do not unroll the entire piece or you will have an edge that is flying out and you have no control over it. Someone could easily get hurt. So make sure you keep it in a coil. To begin, we're going to lay this piece of wire down along the length of the neck, and I want you then to take your finger and kind of raise it above the head so you can start bending the wire around and twist the neck. The idea is, you know that the human figure is 7.5 heads tall, so you need your head to kind of fit somewhere within in this range. This one is slightly larger. That means I'm going to have to make some adjustments. I can do that by bending this out a little bit, making my head a little more round so that I can get a little more height. Once you've got the head and the neck twisted together, like so, you can lay it back down, and remember we have joints, so we do have to add shoulders. We're going to bend the wire at somewhat of a right angle till we get to our shoulder line, and you can use your finger to kind of push your wire against it, and you bring it straight down. Now you'll need to uncoil a little more wire. Now as you can see, it's a little crooked, but that's not a problem since it is wire. It's very pliable. Once we get down to where the hand is going to be, which is somewhere around the hips, but your fingertips go below your hip line, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to grab the wire and you're going to create a loop for the hand. And so you want your wire to cross over, and as you can see, you can kind of push it down against your template, and you're going to cross over. From here, we're going to start coiling the wire back up to the shoulder. So you can do that by holding on to the hand, and whatever is comfortable for you, you're going to wrap the wire around that straight edge and keep going until you get up to the neckline. Now, as you're doing this, if it gets a little distorted, that's okay because it is wire. You come to the neck, and once again, I'm going to lay my figure back down on my template so that I can make sure that I get my next piece, my next shoulder lined up. And again, I'm going to use my finger to bend my wire against it to come down and do the other arm. So we're going to follow the same procedure, and we're going to make a hand. And it's important that you check and make sure your arms are the same length. This looks like at this point my hands are going to be a little short, so I need to unwrap that. And try to do a little bit better job of keeping my figure in proportion. So I'm trying to stay really close to my fingertips. Do not worry if the spacing of your wire coiling is not the same as mine. Everybody wraps theirs a little differently. And it's going to be whatever's comfortable for you. So as I'm wrapping again, I may even need to kind of bend my little guy out a little bit so that I can get my coil around this other straight piece. You can see I'm kind of using both hands. That's not necessarily the best way to do it. It's just what's comfortable for you. So I'm going to continue until I get up to my shoulder again. Now it'll be a little bit easier for you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to kind of continue wrapping until I get to my neck. Sometimes this wire gets a little crazy and in the way, but you can work with that. Okay, so now I've got two arms, I've got shoulders. Remember, I've got joints here, so I have to have them. I'm going to come down. Now this is the spine. Now remember, your hip line is above the tips of your finger. So don't go down here and think that you remember, or don't use your template and put your hips down here, or you will end up with a guy that looks something like this. Whoops. A little long in the waist, a little short on the arms and legs. Following the same procedure that you did on the shoulders, you're going to bend your wire at your hip line. If it's a little off, it's not a big deal. And you're going to bend it down the leg once again until you get to the foot. And then you're going to create your foot and wrap your wire around one more time, all the way up. But this time, when you do it, you're not going to go up the spine, you're going to stop at the spine so that you have just your hip wired, coiled. Okay, crazy wire. I'm just going to kind of straighten them out, make sure I'm kind of close. Hopefully I am. I think I'm going to put another little coil over here so that my hips don't go a little crazy on me. Now this guy looks a little nutty here, but that's okay. He can be straightened out. Oops, spine. My hips are a little too wide there. Okay, now to finish my figure, I'm going to bend it again and come down to my foot and create my foot. At this point, you should feel pretty comfortable with what you're doing. You want to be able to wrap your wire again all the way up. And I'm going to kind of hold on to this a little differently, see if I can't do a better job of making it look like the other side. And if you recall, or if you even stop to think about it, we are using just one piece of wire to create this whole figure. So we could consider that this figure has been created with a continuous line. When we come up to the top, then we can cut off the wire and your figure will be ready to pose into whatever action that you have decided to create. And if you want to kind of secure it, you can kind of wrap it around the neck a bit just to make sure it doesn't move on you. So I have the wire cutters. You can come to see me and we will get the wire cut off. And hopefully you will have some extra wire you can use if you wish. And we want to make sure that when we do finish this, that we press this down so that little piece of wire doesn't scratch anyone or you. So that is how we create a proportionate adult human wire sculpture. And from this point on, you will be able to position him to make him look like he's running or whatever action it is that you have decided to do. Now, look at this, just for an example. The elbow doesn't bend backwards like that, so I really need to straighten my shoulder and push my elbow forward so that I have someone who's looking a little bit more like he's running. So there you have it, a wire sculpture figure. Okay. Nice. It's hard to do this up